Oh, goodness. Bam, we're live. Brian Ray. Hi. Ray, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Good morning.
Ocean State CrossFit. Ray Fleser.
Yes, Fleser, but everybody says Fleser.
Ray
No. Make sure he gets it right. There's nothing Sevan likes more than name pronunciations.
Yeah, Ray Fleser. But a lot of people just throw an H in there because they want to call you Ray Flesher.
Correct.
Ray,
but it's, we get tons of variations.
But it's Ray Fleser. Dude, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Are you? That's a pretty narrow room. It looks like a jail cell that's been dressed up.
No, this is my office in my house.
Oh, nice. And what state are you in?
Rhode Island.
And 2 CrossFit gyms.
Yes.
And it's 2. And how close are these gyms?
Depending on traffic, about 15 to 20 minutes door to door.
Okay, Ocean State CrossFit and Ocean State CrossFit North. And then this other facility, this Ironclad, is within one of the CrossFit gyms, or vice versa, the CrossFit gyms within that facility?
Correct. Because we offer a lot more than just CrossFit classes, and the branding sometimes confuses people. So Ironclad Fitness Center is the name of the whole company. And we do Ironclad Boot Camp, Ironclad Sports Performance, Ironclad Barbell Club. There's a Sanctioned USA Weightlifting Barbell Club there. And personal training. People come for some of those services solely. So there are sports teams that come for Ironclad Sports Performance. There are weightlifters that come for Ironclad Barbell Club. But another service we offer is CrossFit. And at the end of the day, most of the people come for CrossFit. And instead of calling it Ironclad CrossFit, the reason for that, it probably would have been simpler. It's kind of 2 separate things. When I was in my early 20s and I knew this was what I was going to do for a living, I had a friend and we were actually kind of discussing opening a gym, and I had come up with the Ironclad concept, basically named after the first battleships, the wooden ships that got wrapped in iron in the Civil War, and kind of just that story of wrapping your body in iron, so to speak. That's where Ironclad came from. So I knew that back in the day, but then I started working for Ocean State. Eventually ended up buying Ocean State and wanted to keep that name, but go with the original idea that I had back in my 20s. So the whole thing is Ironclad Fitness Center. Ocean State CrossFit is one of the services it offers.
I wish Caleb was here to pull this up. Is that really true? They took wooden boats and wrapped them in.
Oh, yeah. And can you imagine that rolling up on a bunch of homies with muskets?
Sevan, I put it in the chat for you.
Oh, you did? Oh, yeah. Let me see a picture of
that. I think there were like 2 that made their kind of debut. Just changed naval warfare. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. It looks more like a the one that I'm going to pull it up now. The Brian shared with me looks more like a submarine.
Yeah, that was it. So imagine you've got your muzzle loaded musket and you got that thing rolling up on you and your bullets are just bouncing off it. So
right. So that was it. That's like one of those Dixie steamboats now covered in steel. Look, it even has like the little steam towers like sticking out still. Crazy. All right, cool. So are you a history buff, Ray?
Not until like my early 20s, not in high school, not in college. Didn't do well in history or classes in high school growing up. But yes, definitely as an adult, especially like military history, stuff like that.
Yeah, that shit's not supposed to happen to you like 50 or 60. Like you get into bird watching and like reading about the original presidents. Like my mom does that stuff. Like all of a sudden she's like, "Did you know George Washington?" You got to be like, you're starting early.
It might also have to do with like somebody who can make you care about content. So I had one particular teacher, this guy, Mr. Politelli, that did a studies of war class. And that was kind of when all of a sudden, like I was interested in the history as opposed to having to learn it just so I could pass a test.
Right.
That definitely changed the perspective.
I was actually just chatting with a friend about this yesterday. In my sophomore year in high school, this teacher had us read a story out of the Bible, and I went to a public school, and the story was Job. And like, I would have never cared about it if we just had to read it. And I remember him saying, "Hey, like, I don't give a shit if you report me to your parents or the school. This is an important story. You have to know the story." But afterwards, we acted the story out. So first he made us read it, and then we all had to play like a character in it and act it out in front of the class. And that changed everything for me. Like as a class clown, I loved that shit, getting up in front of the class and playing out. And you're right. It's a huge difference when you add value to something you're learning. It's more than just passing the test. Like you start getting invested in it. Yes, Brian.
Do you remember what character you were? Probably Job's wife.
I hope I was something cool like that. God, I hope I was something cool like that. I honestly don't remember. I just remember tripping on how fucked up that dude's situation is. And it would have never hit home.
He had like 3 friends that come by and try to, it's a good story. If you like you said, if you can get it into a context that's relatable, there's a lot to be learned there.
Yeah. If you're in a class and you're in a part where you get to kiss a girl, all the acting's good. Do you know that story, Job, Ray? Do you know that story?
I was about to say, whenever you guys stop talking, I'm embarrassed, but no, I actually don't know that story.
That's okay. It's the only story I know. I know that one and the dude who built the boat and put the animals on it. Those are the only 2 I know. Oh, and I know the one in the garden where the chick bit the apple. But basically, this dude is like loyal to God, and then him and the devil says, "Hey, I bet you I can break this dude's loyalty to you." And so they start doing bad shit to him. It's savage to see if this guy will break his loyalty to God, and him and the devil are making a deal. I know someone's going to correct me in the comments. Go ahead. I'm open to.
You're doing well. No, it's pretty good. Layperson explanation is more valuable than just reciting scripture, I think.
Hey, yeah, this is the only part you need to know, right? Sean, Christ is king, right? Okay, fine.
I think I know of that. I think it might have been like South Park, because
the South Park version of Job. I love it. Yes, tell us.
I don't know. It's
Ray.
the story of like just everything getting stripped away. And like, yes, but I still have my faith. Oh, what the fuck? Yeah, I think it might have been something.
Ray, do you have kids?
I do. I have 2 corgis. I have 2 dogs.
Wow, and you're a corgi guy. These are some weird things. 35 and into history and corgis.
So,
an old person's dog. Person who wants a German Shepherd but can't keep up.
No. When the wife wants a dog, okay, and then you end up like really, really, really loving the dogs. So like she's definitely the facilitator of getting these dogs. But they're awesome little critters, and they got like big dog personalities. They just don't make big dog messes. Actually, that's not even true. They shed so bad.
They're basically German Shepherds with wiener dog bodies, right?
Yes.
Yeah. They're weird looking, but they are cool. I've never met a corgi I didn't like.
They have dwarfism. A lot of people think they're small dogs, but I don't know. Like people like realize that like if you look at the like kind of what makes them interesting looking, the thick bodies, the thick head, the thick paws, but their stumpy legs, it's actually dwarfism. So
that's just bred into them. Could you accidentally get a big corgi, like one, like a deformed corgi would be like a tall one? Oh, you have a tall one. You have a deformed one. You got a cheap one, and you got tall.
This guy is 40 pounds. Actually,
oh my god! Look at him.
He's a loaf, an absolute loaf. But in his mind, like playing catch, running with other dogs, he thinks he's a full-size dog.
Yash, it's a dog eat world out here. That means the dog is sort of a precursor. How long have you been married?
5 years.
The dog is kind of the precursor to kids.
A lot of people say that, maybe, but
not yet. It can happen. Trust me. Accidents happen. Look, he's going to take a deuce under. Oh no, he came out of there.
Oh my god, if he did that live, that would be like legendary. He's so well behaved, that would be out of character, but I wouldn't even get mad. That'd be legendary.
Just he knew. Take a deuce on camera. CrossFit's been around for, let's say, 20 years. 20 years. And you're 35, so it was probably like 15 when you were 15 when it like was like, and when I say first getting off the ground, I mean there wasn't affiliate. There maybe wasn't even one affiliate.
Rhode Island was behind the curve. I was involved from the very beginning in Rhode Island because I played rugby at the University of Rhode Island, and one of my rugby coaches, Nate Godfrey, he was following some of the workouts on CrossFit.com.
What year, Ray?
This was 2000. This is probably 2008.
Okay. Oh, that's early. Yeah, I'm late 2006 when I came on, so that's about the same time.
My freshman year, we were captain run, and then my sophomore year, that's when Nate came on as a coach. So summer going into sophomore year, so summer 2007, summer 2008, we would pull workouts from CrossFit.com, and the first place that they were actually happening in Rhode Island was the rugby field at URI. There were no affiliates. And then several of the first CrossFits in Rhode Island started at the pretty much the same time by people that were involved with rugby. So this guy, Mike Liberatore with CrossFit Providence, and Judah Boulay with CrossFit No Risk, and Nate Godfrey with CrossFit 401. And then Mike Burling and Aaron Meredith of Ocean State CrossFit. And Mike Burling was also a rugby player, unaffiliated with these other three. But pretty much all the first four in Rhode Island all kind of started with guys who were involved with rugby.
And so that 2008, what is that? That's 15 years. You're 20 years old.
Yes.
And is that was collegiate rugby?
Yes. So I was playing there, and so I was in college, and then I took a little break, joined the Air National Guard, then went back to college. And when I went back to college, in the time I was gone, Nate had raised a few funds. I think they might have gotten a little grant from URI. I'm not sure how it all happened, but when I came back, CrossFit 401 was there. So it was like truly a box. It was in a storage unit and like a U-Haul self-storage place. And there was like one or two, with jungle gym and a couple of GHDs and air bikes and rowers. And it was grungy and everything. And that's where the rugby guys worked out. And it was directly next door to this place, Schneider Electric, which is now like AP's power conversion, something like that. Very, very, very big building that employed like thousands of people. So a bunch of those employees would go over before or after work or on their lunch break. So there was like 3 waves of those employees that kept it open, and then the rugby team. And that's kind of how 401 started, and that's how I really got going with CrossFit.
Did you think about it much at that time? Like you like it or didn't like it, or was it like, hey, this is just what we do to get ready for rugby? Like, did you have any strong thoughts about it as a fitness methodology, as a way to move your body?
Definitely. So I was into fitness forever, my whole life. So I was playing high school football, ended up being captain of the high school football team, was working out during that time, did the Bigger, Faster, Stronger program, all that kind of generic, Gold's Gym, YMCA is where I learned to lift weights, but Gold's Gym type bodybuilding, benching, chest and tries, back and bis, leg day, things like that. For cardio, you're running, just very, very, very bread and butter kind of old school fitness. And get to college, I was studying kinesiology. I was in a physical education, teacher education program, thinking I was going to be a phys ed teacher, maybe a trainer, not sure exactly, what realm I'd go in, but definitely knowing working and teaching fitness and sports. And I'd been working out, all my life. At that point in time, I didn't know any of the technicalities of it. I didn't know, what a hang or a squat or anything, but I knew how to do a clean, jump the bar on my chest. I didn't know the difference between a push jerk, split jerk, any of that, but jump the bar over my head. And I could do that with 260 pounds. So I was like strong. And my buddy, the first CrossFit workout I did, it was with my rugby guys. He said, all right, we're going to do this thing called Grace. We're going to do 30 clean jerks for time with 135 pounds. Like, well, I can do that with 260 pounds. He goes, no. You're not looking to do it once. You're going to do it 30 times as fast as you can. And I'm like, all right. And I did it in 2.5 minutes. Which
wow. How old were you? That's at 20. That's at 20?
Say again?
That's at 20 years old you did that?
It was yes.
That's crazy, dude. Hey, was anyone even close to you in your group?
Yeah, the captain of the rugby team at the time, Nick Martirosian. He was somewhere around maybe.
What was Nick's last name?
Martirosian.
Nice Armenian name.
I pronounce it differently every time I say it. He's been one of my close friends for 15
He is Armenian. He is Armenian though, right?
Yes.
Yes, good. Yeah, every good man needs a good Armenian man friend. So there you go. You're set for life. It's just key to success. Have an Armenian next to you. We're like the real Lucky Charms.
Nick would go to battle for any of his buddies, so he lives up to that big time. But it took me 2.5 minutes, and then I was on the ground for probably 45. Like, what the fuck just happened to me? I thought I knew how to work out. You know what I mean? I thought I could run a mile in 6 minutes. Like, what the fuck just happened to me in 2.5 minutes? That's leaving me feeling like this. I got to sort this out. I got to see what this is about. And that was kind of what hooked it. And I know that was an old school way of hooking people. Was like, all right, let's give them a taste and really fuck them up on their first go. I think that's kind of evolved. I think when people come in the door, we kind of ease them in now. We don't want people, because I'm sure for every one person that had the experience I had and was like, wow, I need to keep going with this. This was fucking awesome. I think maybe 4 or 5 people are, oh my God, that's horrible. People are going to get killed. So I think that kind of trial by fire maybe switch, but that was definitely my integration.
Hey, Ray, here's the thing too. I'm sure you and Brian appreciate this, but a lot of people don't get this. I had a friend, I've had him on the show, Travis Bajent, who could snatch 135 pounds with one hand, no problem. Like slow motion like this. But the first time I asked him to do Grace, he tapped. He fucking tapped. He got fucking 15 reps in. He's done. He's a fucking arm wrestler. He felt horrible. I remember we were in a basketball gym. I tried to film it for CrossFit.com. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? He's like, I can't do this. Same with you see some of these big guys do burpees. It is be able to do 260-pound clean and jerk, but also to transfer it to 30 reps at 135 and 2.5. These aren't even in the same world.
No, totally.
It's fucking crazy what that does to people. What do you think about this though? Way off subject here. I really want to talk about your gyms, but let's stop. I think my mom likes CrossFit, and she's going to be 80 next year because when she wears her CrossFit shirt to her book club, it freaks the other ladies out. And I know that's why the rest of us like wearing CrossFit shirts too, because we like the brand value, because when we walk into Starbucks, everyone knows we're the fittest person in there. Just like I wouldn't wear a UFC shirt, because if I did, I'm basically telling everyone around me, hey, I could beat your ass. Everyone in this Walmart, I could beat your ass. There is that brand value that we still want to keep though, right? Like, hey, if you do CrossFit, that shit is fucking hard.
So
we're different.
So
you're welcome to come join us, but this shit is hard.
Absolutely. And I think it's like a couple of different points here. So on the one hand, don't want to scare the shit out of somebody or hurt somebody on their first day. I want to safely kind of get them involved and get them to fall in love with it, because I fell in love with it, getting my absolute ass kicked in 2.5 minutes. But then when I started kind of like diving into the CrossFit world and seeing so much of the philosophy of wellness, one of my favorite things that Glassman ever said was the needs of Olympians and the elderly differ by intensity, not type. And that was like, so that's kind of a different perspective than going in as a college athlete and getting your ass kicked with like slinging a heavy barbell really fast. So, okay, so how does that relate to your grandma? Okay, well, it's like a different kind of mindset is, all right, well, now we're looking at squats for wellness and for health and for longevity, not for getting your ass kicked in 2.5 minutes. And I think that's a really, really, really important part. Listening to some of your stuff recently where you're talking about, taking health and wellness into your own hands. So much of the problems with people's health could be helped with fitness, and CrossFit made fitness fun. Instead of going to the gym and doing the same thing all the time, all of a sudden now there's like 300 new things I want to try to learn. I want to try and do that muscle up. I want to try and do that handstand walk. I want to try and figure out that snatcher. I want to make that heavier. And it kind of gave like ignited a whole new spark in fitness for an already enthusiastic guy. Right. So again, there's the intense aspect of it. There's the life aspect of it. Why should again a 60-year-old, 70-year-old do this? It might be a little bit different than the reason the college athlete got hooked on it, but I think those reasons are extremely important. And then to echo what you're saying, there is that little part of you that's proud that you're doing something a lot of people aren't willing to do. They're too scared to do it. Maybe they have too much pride to do it. They're a guy who's jacked up and thinks he's tough and goes to the CrossFit gym and gets his shit pushed in, and the first workout and never shows up again because he's just, he can't hold to the pride. One way or another, if you're willing to come and you're willing to stick it out day after day, the frustrations, because it hurts. It's frustrating. It's sometimes demoralizing. It's like, it's painful. It's emotional. But if you can keep fighting through that, there is this like sense of pride when like most people aren't willing to. Kind of like there's a line by Arnold Schwarzenegger where somebody says like, "Oh, well, yeah, but I don't want to be big like you." And he's like, "Don't worry, you never will." And it's like most people don't even have the guts to do that. And there's definitely a sense of pride in that, motivation in that.
Yeah, I love the brand value it has. I love how hard it is. I also love the fact that anyone can do it, and that really it's just people themselves holding themselves back. Especially if you find a good, what sounds like a great affiliate like yours. Like, hey, it doesn't even matter if you can barely walk from your car into the door. Just give it 6 months. We'll have you jogging from your car to from your car to the front door. That's the whole goal, right? To move the needle.
I mean, the goal is just, I make people do burpee shuttles. That's like definitely a favorite of mine.
What's a burpee shuttle? You shuttle run with a burpee on each end?
Yeah. So it could be 20 feet, 10 feet. The parameters that could vary, but might throw in a back pedal. So run forward to that line, do a burpee, back pedal back to this line.
I like it.
But some variation of burpee shuttles. And I always say, like, this is the most important workout you can possibly do. The snatches, it cleans the muscle up. That's cool. But think about what you're doing right now. You're getting on the ground and you're moving from point A to point B. The speed of that will vary based on fitness, age, ability. But the day you can't do this workout, you're fucked. The day you can't do burpee shuttles, just check into the nursing home. You can't move. And it's like,
hey, I wonder, what do you think the ratio is of how many, if there's 300 million Americans in the United States, how many of them do you think that can't lay down and stand up 10 times in a minute? I'm not even saying a burpee. I'm just saying lay on their stomach and get up.
So I mean,
I bet you it's 100 million, dude. I bet you a third of the public can't do that. Isn't that crazy?
So I had this client. I didn't own it at the time. I was the head coach at Ocean State, and this woman walks in with her husband, and she wasn't 5 feet, so she was like 4'11", and she was a little over 300 pounds, and she's like 60-some years old. I think she was 64 at the time, and her daughter had lost like 100 pounds at a gym out on Cape Cod, so she kind of she looked up some gyms.
A CrossFit gym? Her daughter did it at a CrossFit gym?
Badass.
So she told her mom to come to Ocean State. She kind of looked up what was going on in Rhode Island for gyms, and she goes, go to Ocean State, and our staff was on our website. She's like, go find this guy, Ray. So she walked in, and the owner comes up to me, and he's like, hey, Ray, there's somebody here to see you. You're gonna have your hands full with this one. And because he had talked to her for a minute, and I walked up, and I'm talking to this lady, and I'm like, oh, this is all right, well, this is why we're here, but this is gonna be tough. So she was on every.
Why did you think that? Why did you think it was gonna be tough? 4'11", 300 pounds. Why would it be tough?
So she's 64 years old, and
okay,
she's on an inhaler. She's on like multiple different. She's the definition of what's wrong with healthcare in this country. Over a lifetime of red flags, the answer was always a diagnosis and a medication. Never nutrition and exercise. Never once nutrition and exercise. So she was on never once
in 64 years.
So she's on every diabetes medication there is. She's got blood thinners. She's got inhalers for her lung. The lady is just an absolute mess. She's got blood pressure medication, and she's got like ridiculously high cholesterol. And she's saying that, she has all these plaque in her arteries, and her most recent kind of doctor's appointment was the doctor said, hey, your blood sugar is at a certain point where it's going to start eating at your nerves, and you're going to wind up getting some things amputated, and you're going to die. So you need to make a change, and I can't put you on any meds, all the meds you can possibly do. So she's like, well, what are my options? You might have to do some exercise. That was like the last piece of advice, and you're about to get amputated. Yeah. So I meet her, and I'm like, all right, we gotta fill out a specific waiver for you. You understand, like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. We've got an AED. I'm CPR certified. I've got an asthma inhaler. I'll have my phone on me with full charge at all time if we got to call 911. But if we knock a piece of that plaque off of one of your arteries, I don't know where it's going to go. Like you're so right there, but we have to try. So I made a custom waiver, and her and her husband signed it, kind of like admitting that like we're going into some dangerous territory, but it's worth it. And the first couple sessions would be her sitting down to a box that was basically just a matter of her flexing her knees, because she basically lived with her knees in lockout, because if she bent her knees, she would pretty much collapse. And I had to set up a safety net under the rig around her with bands. And over the course of time, got them a little lower and lower and lower. But I had to set it up because if she fell, number one, I might not be able to pick her up. Number two, she might break something. She was so frail. And it had been 10 years since she had been in conversating. How long has it been since you've been able to get on the ground and get back up? And she said, I haven't been on the ground in over 10 years. So that's like, but everything in her house, you know what I mean? Let's install the railing by the toilet. Let's install the lift at the stairs. Let's not fix the issue. Let's get another Band-Aid. And throughout the course of assistance and various, methods of getting to lunge, and it took us 6 months to be able to get her to get on the ground without assistance.
Wow, you did it.
Well, halfway. It took another 6 to be able to get her off the ground without assistance.
Okay.
So I set stuff up for her to kind of crawl her way up. But a year in, we got her first burpee. And that was like the first time something kind of like viral, if you will, happened on my Facebook. But up until that time, Facebook's got like, 20 likes, 30 likes, maybe.
How old were you when you did that?
Probably 28.
That's also you're kind of like your most selfish years, right? Too. Like,
well, I was,
zero. Like, what should you give a fuck at 28 about a fucking 62-year-old woman who should lay down and get up? I mean,
that was cool because it took a year to do that, and then within about a year, we had gotten to the point where we could do 10 in a minute. So like the thing you had just said, what do you think the percentage is? Like that actually happened. We actually got Barbara to do 10 in a minute. I worked with Barbara for a half hour a week, 3 times a week for up until COVID, and by the time like that kind of that time frame was there around 2019, 2020, she had gotten off all of her diabetes medication. She had gotten off all of her blood thinners, all of her heart meds, and her inhaler. Like that woman is like just an example, like the absolute perfect example of everything that's fucked up with our healthcare system, but also the amazing just benefits of exercise. Like
the true power of CrossFit.
It's unbelievable.
Hey, what did the people in the gym think about her? Did after all those years of her being there, would people say hi to her? Did she become part of the community?
Everybody loved Barbara. You kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, because everybody's got those people in their family, right? I have those people in my family. Like, and what are you gonna do? Just like ruin every family dinner and every event, just kind of like playing the self-righteous game and hating on like people that aren't taking care of themselves. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Like I kind of can't make the horse drink the water. I can bring it, you know what I mean? So I have the gym and the doors open, but I can't make people come. Show them that it's there. Bring the horse to water. I can't make it drink. So kind of let it be. But I think like seeing this woman reminded everybody of somebody that they know it could help. You know what I mean?
Dude, that lady in my mind's a hero. There's never been a time more important for overweight people to all these people who are overweight, who are going to the gym and talking about their diet and posting their pictures on their Instagram. Those are my favorite. Like, do it, be the example, show that shit off, put the incredible pressure on yourself to change. We need you now. Civilization needs you. The truth is you just have to look at yourself. You are the burden that's on society right now. Like show off as you reduce your burden on society. It's so easy to help society if you're one of those people and yourself at the same time. It's awesome. It's truly awesome.
Like I said, for her to get off the heart meds and for her to get off the blood thinners, for her cholesterol to have gone down by just doing,
Is she still alive now? She made it through COVID?
Yes. Yep.
God, she must have been so happy she started 2 years before. Imagine going into COVID, not being able to get on the ground and get up.
I can't fathom living like that, but she fixed it. And when COVID was happening and people were talking about all these, how scared they were of dying, and I'm like, at one point it was like, oh, COVID's killed more people than Vietnam, and I'm like, that's not that many people. That's 50,000 people. Don't get me wrong. Vietnam was a tragedy. Vietnam was an absolute tragedy. But that was 50,000 people. 500,000 people a year die in the United States from the #1 killer, cardiac disease. And of that, said that 90% of those are preventable through lifestyle changes and habits. So
I think that's being generous for saying 90. It's probably 90.
It might be more, but that's just like the number that
right.
They put out. So it's like, okay, you guys are worried about something that has killed 50,000 people, but you're not worried about a lifestyle habit that you can see coming from 10 years out, 20 years out. You can see it coming, and it's going to kill 450. What are you worried about? Like don't worry about COVID. Don't worry about COVID. It's tragic, but take care of yourself. That's the bigger priority.
If your average age, so also if the average age of death of COVID is 80 and the average age of death in general in the United States is 78, then you didn't die from COVID, you died with COVID. And that's another thing. Like, hey, dude, anyway, we agree too much to have this discussion. Hey, is that the crowning achievement of your?
I don't want anybody out there to think I'm like insensitive, like to if somebody, obviously COVID was a tragic new box on the checklist, right? How did somebody die? Did they die of pneumonia? Did they have a heart attack? Did they die of cancer?
Fentanyl?
Did they die of COVID? Like whether it came from a bat or it came from a lab I don't know how it got here, but
me neither.
It's a box on the checklist. And for anybody who dies of pneumonia or anybody who dies of influenza or anybody who dies of anything, it's very tragic. We've got a new box on the checklist, but I'm not going about my life in constant fear of dying of the flu. I'm not going about my life in constant fear of dying of any other really disease. I'm going to go about it and try to just live moderately healthy. And to think that, again, American culture, you have people that are, again, 300, 400, 500 pounds drinking, soda habitually throughout the day, and don't do any fitness at all. And they're worried about COVID. I'm like, there's a small chance COVID might kill you. There's 100% chance your lifestyle is going to kill you. And that's, you know what I mean?
Hey, when I no shit, when I see someone like slumped over, like in an entryway of a building, and it's like with 3 other guys, and there's piss and shit around them, and I know they're all passed out from fentanyl. You know that look? You ever seen that? You ever go to Boston? It's probably everywhere there.
Yeah. You see that stuff. Was just in Miami for Wadapalooza.
Okay, yeah. And you can go on any video and see videos in Philadelphia or San Francisco where it's just hundreds of people, if not thousands, with like needles hanging out of them, passed out, and just it looks like a zombie movie. That's how I feel when I see someone also who's 500 pounds walking out of Safeway with 2 liters of Coke. Well, I just see a drug addict. I'm like, holy shit! I just see a drug addict. It's like an identical feeling of like, oh fuck, there's a drug addict to me.
Yeah, well, that's totally true because so in addition to just some family members that and close friends over the years that I've known with eating disorders, and not
eating disorders meaning not ways, eating enough.
Okay. They go both ways. We run a program at our gym, at one of our gyms called Move to Heal. It's a pretty amazing program, and it's a 30-minute workout. It's simple. It's not going to be, we're not going to teach the snatch or the handstand push-up. It's very simple. It's meant to get the endorphins flowing. So anybody can come at any level of experience. Fitness it does not have to be experienced in fitness at all. We're going to come, we're going to work out, and then there's a 60-minute group meeting. And it's for anybody who either has substance abuse issues, is in any kind of form of recovery, or also any mental health, whether life trauma, whether depression, anxiety, anything. If
you teach this class at your gym, this is a class at your gym.
Yeah, it's like a session, if you will. Yes, we do that.
What days?
We do it Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. and Saturdays at 8 a.m.
How much does it cost?
So that's the thing. So Move to Heal is free. To come to it is free. The organization is called Move to Heal, and if you attend these sessions regularly, there's standards to it, criteria, then you are eligible for other services. And these other services include a complimentary gym membership at my gym and bi-monthly counseling sessions with a licensed therapist. So if you come to Move to Heal 4 times a month, we offer 8 classes. If you come 4 times a month, so you come once a week, you come twice in 1 week. If you come to 4 of those sessions a month, you get a free gym membership at my gym, and you can see a licensed therapist twice a month.
Holy shit, Ray! This is dope.
It's an amazing program. It's an amazing program.
Why are you doing that? How does that make sense if you're a business owner? Which gym is that at, by the way? Is that at Ocean State or at North?
That's North. So
why are you doing that? Why not? That sounds crazy.
So, well, one thing at a time. So I'll land the quick plane. So when it comes to food, hearing people talk and seeing people and just working with people, some of the nutrition over the years, exactly what you just said. Like, food is like a drug to some people. There are some people that don't have alcohol problems. So instead of coming home and having, 10 beers and passing out, they eat, a jumbo sized bag of Skittles and, wash it down with a 2 liter of Coke. And that's like their fix. You know what I mean? So food is definitely a drug to a lot of people, and it kills them. It's not even that it kills them like drugs. If you look at the numbers, I forget exactly. I don't want to get my numbers wrong here, but again, cardiovascular disease around 500,000 Americans a year, with again what they say 90% due to lifestyle. And when you look at drug overdoses, it's like half that. So it's like a bad body is going to kill twice as many people as drugs. So food is actually killing twice as many people as drugs. Drugs and alcohol. But so this program, so I've had a pretty wild roller coaster of a life, and fitness has been, what's gotten me through some bad times, kept me off the ledge. And when I have fallen off the ledge, fitness has helped me get back up. So I've always been down to kind of pay that forward. And we've had a couple of different groups, rehab places, treatment centers, ask if they could bring some people in who are in recovery. And I've always said yes to that, and I never charged. So that's never really taken off. That's kind of like been like a good deed. And we were approached about this Move to Heal program, and I went into that with the same mindset. I was like, sure, like I don't know how successful it's going to be, but if you got, people that want to come and work out and you think it can help them with their sobriety or can help them with whatever, then yeah, for sure. And then I had a meeting with the founder of this company, and it was, well, actually there's some money in it. If John Doe comes, and he comes to 4 meetings a month, averages once a week, we will pay for his gym membership at your gym. So Move to Heal compensates my gym for the attendees of this program. So Move to Heal gets its finances from private donations. They raise funds. I don't know how they get their funds. It's mostly private donations, but at the end of the month, we look at how many people came to our meetings, and of those people, how many elected to have a gym membership. To maintain the gym membership, they have to come to, what is it? 4 classes a week? No, 8 classes a month. 8 classes a month. So they have to go to 4 meetings and 8 CrossFit classes a month to earn that free membership. And in other words, the reason it's called Move to Heal is whether you're getting over mental illness or dealing with trauma from life or trying to get through recovery. If fitness is going to help you, then this company is going to pick up the bill, and that's the program. It's amazing.
Hey, were you dabbling in drugs? Is that what happened to you?
So I kind of say like I always did the right thing, but then I also always did the wrong thing. So when I was growing up, I was a really, decent student. I was kind of a punk forever, but I mean, I was an honor roll student. I got like a partial academic scholarship to URI, and I was captain of my high school football team. But then I was also just absolutely, rough around the edges. So partying in high school, definitely drugs and alcohol. And then in college, same thing. So college, I was, in the kinesiology program. I was in the Rhode Island Air National Guard. I was on the college rugby team. I started a fraternity at URI. It's still there. It's the biggest fraternity at URI. I did a lot of the right things, but then also a lot of the wrong things, the drugs and alcohol. So luckily for me.
Did you go to jail, Ray?
I actually, I did briefly. Yeah, I got mixed up. I got mixed up with some of the wrong people when I was in college, and made some bad decisions. And that actually that was the worst time in my life. Actually, that was the worst time in my life. But it lit a fire under my ass that got me. You said like, why would somebody in their 20s be going as hard as I did? And it was because I was embarrassed and I wanted to redeem myself, if you will. So that's kind of what started the hustle was the rock bottom.
This is a little off subject here, but I wondered about that. I have this. I think shame is a really powerful tool, and it's a powerful mechanism we should all feel if we can use it to straighten our ship, right? So, I don't like when I was in my life when I've been addicted to nicotine, I've always been ashamed to walk up to that counter, and if there's anyone else checking out, to be like, hey, can I get those cigarettes, or can I get a can of that shit? Because I think when someone does that, I think it just screams you're weak. Yeah. Anyone who, and I like that shame. I needed that shame. I wanted to feel that. You know what I mean? Like I was never like, this sucks that I feel ashamed to get nicotine. No, motherfucker, you're fucking showing off that you're a fucking addict, and everyone in line behind you at 7-Eleven can see it. You know what I mean? Do you have any thoughts on that? I mean, basically what it sounds like, you ran into some trouble and some shit, and you were fucking embarrassed and ashamed, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna have to overcompensate now and get my shit really together.
Well, yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I was at a rock bottom, and
you were rock bottom.
Oh yeah.
What was your drug?
Well, I was not a drug addict. That wasn't it. So, all right.
Rock bottom's a crazy spot.
What's that?
Rock bottom's a crazy spot.
So, what had happened was I was in college and I was very, very, very broke.
Very what? Broken?
Broke. Just no money. Like no money. So I worked in the restaurant business, and the kinesiology department at URI is pretty small. So it made working in the restaurant pretty tough, because there would be classes that were only offered once a semester, so you had to take them. And it would be like class at 9 a.m. and then a class at 5 p.m. And I'm like, well, or the labs we had, once you get into the PEAT program, the labs, as they call them, the hands-on stuff with kids that would come in with their parents, and you would teach kids with disabilities. Those were all at night. So it really made working in the restaurant hard. And, I actually joined the Air National Guard because I was just so sick of being broke, and joined the Air National Guard, came back, and they say they pay for school, and that's true. They give you a tuition waiver. So I stopped taking out loans for tuition. But as far as paying rent and, car and cell phone and just life, it was still on me and the restaurant, and was broke then. And some buddies of mine that were in a similar financial situation when I had left were no longer in that situation when I came back. And I said, all right, well, what do you guys got going on? And they were selling weed in pretty high quantities. And at this point in time, it was totally illegal. There was no medicinal. It was illegal everywhere. And I said, all right, well, let's get involved with that now. And my main thing was just kind of driving it, like go pick it up from one place and bring it to another place. And at that point in time, people knew that you wouldn't really mess with me. So I was a safe kind of ride.
Because you were a little rough around the edges.
That's it. Yeah. So some kid got caught. Apparently it was a DUI, but some kid got caught, and he ratted out the whole kind of operation, and they did a surveillance on his house, and I was leaving the house with a load. And
so you were a truck driver for agricultural products.
Yeah. That's an elegant way to put it.
Hey, what did you drive? What was your car?
Oh, it was the only thing I could afford, man. It was a Hyundai Sonata. It was an old Hyundai Sonata.
All right.
But
I'm down.
Yeah. So that whole thing happened. So I had to go to the
So the cops pull you over and open your trunk, and you got a bunch of weed in there.
Yeah.
Hey, anything else besides weed?
No.
Thank God. Like you didn't have like 5,000 pills of Molly or something?
No.
Thank God.
No,
I wouldn't be talking to you probably.
But that was, yeah. So.
Hey, what year was that? Isn't that weird now? Like you're like a national hero if you're driving weed around.
All of those guys now just do it legally, and it's on their Instagram. You know what I mean? But anyways, so that was during midterms at URI. So I had to go to the ACI for a little bit, and then when I got out on bail.
Wait, you went to the what for a little bit? ACI?
Yeah, there's jail, and then there's prison. That's the prison. So
okay.
Not for very long, but that's where they hold you. They don't hold you for like long periods of time in jail. So then when I was there, that was the rock bottom, because then I got out and I withdrew from URI because I didn't know what the case was going to do, and I had missed all my midterms. But being in jail isn't a valid excuse, so they didn't let me retake them. So I'm like, all right, I'm either going to fail all my classes right now, or I'm going to just withdraw and take an eye. So I withdrew, and I was, sitting at home, and I'm like, what? Okay, how do we go from here? So I had absolutely no money, and I had just withdrawn from school, and because of the nature of that, I was discharged from the military. I was honorably discharged because I was a civilian on my own time. I didn't just service in the military, but I was out of the military, and in doing that move with school, about a week later, I got a letter from URI saying that I owed them $7,000. And I was like, why do I owe you $7,000? And he said, well, you withdrew from school after the drop date, and your GI Bill retracted. So I was just like, oh God. So I'm like, well, I don't have it. And they're like, okay, well, we go to collection. So I'm 24 years old at this time, and I was a senior in college, and I withdrew, and I was literally just sitting there with my dick in my hand, and I'm like, well, let's hustle, boy. Let's make it happen. So I had already done all the kinesiology classes. I was like one semester away from the degree. So I went and I took the last pennies I had, and I got a personal trainer certification through NASM. I didn't even need to open the book. I just went to take the test. And I started training. I hustled. I was training every which way I could. I was doing boot camps on Narragansett Beach. I did boot camps in a sorority house. I bought some kettlebells and had people in my basement who would train them in my basement. I was just training anybody I could get content with. If they could give me $20, if they could give me $10, I wouldn't care. Like, I was just trying. I was working in a restaurant. I was going 1,000,000 miles an hour, and then ended up saving a little bit of money enough to get a CrossFit certification. Ended up getting a CrossFit certification in like 2012, I think, and was training people at the CrossFit gym that my college rugby coach had opened. So I had my hands in just as much fitness as I could, and I started this website, fleserfitness.com, and I would go around and I would take videos of other coaches to just try and network and just try and get content, and so if you went to fleserfitness.com, it wouldn't necessarily be me working out. It would be, hey, here's this trainer going to show you this movement with this equipment. Here's so that website, if you're going to pull it up, is no longer there. You might be able to find something, but it's no longer. But either way, exactly. So I was actually getting my back tattooed, and I was emailing to some gyms to see if they wanted to do some stuff with my website, and Ocean State CrossFit was one of them. And I hit up the owner, and he said, yeah, come by tomorrow. Come work out at noon. So I came by the next day, worked out, and
this is 11 years ago.
Yeah. And I went there and I beat everybody, and he's like, who the fuck are you? And can you come back here tomorrow? I'm like, yeah. So I went back the next day, and he's like, my business partner's here. And it was like this older dude in a suit, and we worked out again. And then he's like, you got time to talk? And we went and talked, and they just talked to me for like 20, 30 minutes. And he's like, how would you like to work here? And I'm like, I can't, man. Like, I'm literally doing all these different things. And at that point, I was also helping this guy open a restaurant that was literally supposed to open the next day. And I was going to.
Did you have a girlfriend during this time?
No.
You're just hustling.
Yep. Like
no corgis, no vagina, no nothing. Just working.
Every moment of every day.
Okay.
And I was supposed to open this restaurant the next day, and this guy says, well, all right, I'll give you $40,000 a year. You'll coach 27 classes a week. You can do personal training here and keep 100% of it. And I said, fuck, when do you want me to start? And he said, tomorrow at 5 a.m. You got a key? And literally on the ride home, I hit up my mom.
Dude, that's a lot of classes. That's 4 classes a day, dude. That
was a half of what I was like hustling with. So on the way home, I called my mom, and I was like, hey, I just got this opportunity. She's like, what do you want to do with your life, right? In 10 years, do you want to be the best trainer in Rhode Island, or do you want to be, the best bartender around? I said, I want to be the best trainer around. She said, well, you have to do. So I said, all right. So I went to work.
Why your mom? Why not your dad? I'd have called my mom too. I was gonna say probably, but not even probably 100%.
I don't really have an answer to that. I love my dad very much.
But your mom always believed in you. Your mom always believed in you.
Yeah. But she said, and that line stuck with me because stuck with me really big, because that next day I went and I started at Ocean State, and that started this journey that I'm still on now. And I went and opened, and I went to the restaurant that morning for the first day opening, and I told the guy, and I was expecting him to flip out, and he goes, "Bro, this isn't what you're going to do for a living, man. I appreciate you helping me, but that's your opportunity." And he like wished me luck, and I was like really relieved by that. So then I just went and
you were probably really good at that though too, huh? You weren't fucking around. Anything you did, you just did good.
Pretty much. I'm pretty. I do everything pretty hard.
That's anytime I talk to people about you, that's what I say.
But
I do stuff. How do you do stuff? Good? No, hard. Hard. It's a level beyond good. Well, you do stuff with excellence? No, hard.
I remember that line, because then a couple of years later, like, things had developed at Ocean State, and they kept developing. And in 2015, we were the first gym from Rhode Island to make it to regionals. And a gym had done it before, but it wasn't like the same thing. It was when you could just sign up and go. It wasn't like you had to qualify, let alone year after year. And that time it just kept getting harder and harder and harder. But in 2015, we ended up making the first punch to regionals. And I got an email that I didn't even know this was going to be a thing, but I got an email after the Open was done. It said, "Congratulations, Ray Fleser, for your performance in the Open. You've earned the title fittest man in Rhode Island." And I remember, I coached this team. I called my mom, and I said, "Mom, remember when you asked me if I wanted to be the best trainer in Rhode Island 10 years?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, I did it, and it didn't take 10, it took 3. And I always remember that.
Dude.
So yeah, at
that point, were you owning the gym yet, or still just working there?
Still, I was the head coach at that time.
And there was only one at that time?
There was one Ocean State at that time, yes.
Okay.
The Ocean State North.
How did you meet him, Brian? How do you know Ray?
Well, because he was the fittest in Rhode Island, and I know everyone is the fittest anywhere. No,
right. Okay.
Ray, well, I mean, I could, as far as his individual CrossFit career goes, he did end up taking that team to the games in 2017. And then I don't know exactly how he got on my radar, but I spent the time of 2015 to 18 studying affiliates methodology, the level 1 stuff, just as much as any of the game stuff. And he came across my path during that time, and then they started competing. He did I think his teams did a lot of competitions during the sanctionals tours of those 2 years, and we met at one of those.
Gotcha. Okay. Ray, in what year did you buy the gym?
2016.
And I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because I don't want to run out of time. Although we have plenty of time, I know things can just fly by. You have 2 gyms now, and they're both successful?
Yes. So Cranston, the original Ocean State CrossFit, a partner, or at the time a member, Dave Ward Smith, we were very close friends and worked out together, and we were just talking about, he was working at a physical therapist office, and, we, at that point in time, the owner, Aaron Meredith, he had basically phased out of the front of the house operation. He was handling still some of the back of the house stuff, but most members didn't know him, interact with him, anything. A lot of people thought I owned it. And I did want to. So at some point in time, kind of talked to him about that, and he's like, "Yep." And then, so I kind of knew that Aaron would sell. And then in my communications with Dave, at one point we went out and we were having some drinks in Providence, and was, "You want to do this? Let's fucking do it. Let's fucking do it." And we shook hands over espresso martinis on Federal Hill, and we got to the drawing board, and we ended up buying out Aaron, and it's been an awesome ride. Dave's a great partner. He handles the back end of the operation, the member relations, and I handle the front end, the fitness and the actual operation on the day to day. And obviously I do a lot of coaching as well. And then an athlete that I met at Ocean State, she started coming to Ocean State, this master's athlete, Jen Jasper, world record holder in Olympic lifting, absolutely amazing athlete. She was coming to Ocean State, and she, had dreams of owning a gym. she lives in Northern Rhode Island, and kind of Dave and Jen and I just got to talking about, maybe opening a gym up there. And then her husband, he's not as competitive as she is. So the drive from Northern Rhode Island to Cranston was not something he was really interested in. Worked out at this gym called CrossFit No Risk. And he kind of heard that his wife was interested in, maybe opening a gym up there. And he's like, hey, Jen, I think Judah might be down to sell No Risk. So the thought process with Dave, Jen, and I went from opening a gym in Northern Ireland to buying No Risk and rebranding it and changing it around to ours. So we did that. That negotiation started before COVID, but then obviously we're not going to buy a gym during COVID time. So once the dust all settled from that, we went back to the drawing board, and that deal took. It took about 6 months, but it really took about a year just to get the paperwork in order for the actual.
Why did they want to sell? They were just done. They had done their time.
Yeah, the owner, Judah Boulay, he had run it for a long time, and he was moving on to kind of other things, some sports performance stuff. He's a coach of Bryant College rugby team. He does some sports performance things in various capacities, and he had phased out of the CrossFit realm of No Risk CrossFit a long time ago. He wasn't coaching class. He it was just he was down to pass the torch, and we rebranded it to Ocean State just because it's going to do the same programming, it's going to follow the same methodology we do. I'm not going to call that something else. So we went in and changed around the facility to kind of suit the way the Cranston facility is set up and carry out the same operation. So the two mirror their mirror facilities. A lot of the coaches coach back and forth. They do the same programming.
Did I hear these numbers right? Are there? You have 600 members
between the two? Yes.
Yeah, that is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's a pretty special place. So I mean, the Cranston facility, there's people that drive like an hour to go there. You know what I mean? It's there's nothing really like it.
When you say, what do you mean nothing like it? The how clean it is, how nice the people are, the equipment, the training.
I would say all of that. So Ocean State.
Ray, let me help Sevan on that, because he said when you took over and when the first guy offered you a job, 27 hours coaching a week, and then you could do your personal training. Based on what and you could keep 100% of that. Based on what I know about you now, I'm guessing that you did also 27 hours of personal training a week. Like this guy works all day, man. I'm telling you.
Something like that. But the thing that makes Ocean State like really, really amazing is all the things you just said. It is incredibly clean. We keep it immaculate, or at least die trying. We actually don't even have a cleaning company. I do it. My partner does it. Just over the years, we hired and fired so many cleaning companies for doing an inadequate job that we just, we sacked up and we bought the floor scrubber. I spent $2,000 on an industrial remote vacuum cleaner because we kept killing the filters on Dysons with the chalk dust. So we got this vacuum. The facility we do our absolute damnedest to keep clean.
I want to echo that, by the way. Dyson is the best and coolest vacuum cleaner ever, unless you're really going to use it every day. I went through fucking 5 $1,200 Dyson vacuum cleaners, having 3 boys and 2 dogs at home, and they just eat those cordless fuckers up. So don't do that. Just get the one at Costco, the Shark, and with the plugs. Fuck cordless shit. Anyway, proceed. Sorry.
So the programming, I do it, and I've done it since 2012, and I definitely take a lot of pride in it.
You write it, or do you actually also do it yourself?
So that was going to be what I said next. So I do it, and I think that's a really important thing that's forgotten in CrossFit these days is, they say program for the best, scale for the rest. But when you look at a lot of gyms that are high performing, you don't see the best athletes taking class. And that's always been a philosophy at Ocean State. Like the competitors, like to compete, like you have to take class. It's not even like an option, because how am I going to look a person in the eye when they walk in the door and say, hey, my gym's $199 a month and it's one of the best gyms in the world, and you're going to get really, really, really fit. But all those amazing athletes over there, they do some other shit. Like, fuck that. Figure
Yeah,
out a
you got
way-
the Ariel Lowen. You must love Ariel Lowen then, huh?
who's that?
She's a games athlete. She's a mom, and we had her on the show, and we're like, she's a top 10, top 11 fittest woman in the world, and we're like, hey, what's your programming? She's like, I just go to an affiliate, and at the end of every week, I make a list of all the movements they did in the affiliate, whichever ones they didn't do, then I do them on my own. So if the affiliate didn't program handstand walking, and she just takes the fucking classes and then fills in on the side what they didn't program. I'm like, what the fuck?
Love that.
And she's a savage.
Love that.
Yeah,
Well,
crazy, right?
Well, I mean, I just, for the community aspect of it, like I take class from them. Everybody, Christine Middleton is the strongest female in CrossFit. She holds the record for the clean and jerk at 265 at Granite Games, and she's a 3-time Games athlete. Like, absolutely amazing athlete, a USA weightlifting coach. She placed 3rd at USA Nationals. She's up on stage with up on the podium with Maddie Rogers, and she takes class with our members. You know what I mean? So, like, you might have somebody who can clean 65 pounds, and you got Christine who's cleaning 285 pounds, and it's happening in the same class with everything in between. So, like, on a day, we have 10 sets of rings, and on a day with ring muscle ups, like, they'll all be down, and there'll be classes like, the evening classes, people will have to double up on them. That's a very rare thing, to go to a gym and see 12 people doing muscle ups in class, not in competitors session, whatever.
Right. This isn't 11 a.m. at Invictus. This is all day at and that's not a dig in Invictus, by the way. Great place. But this is just every class at Ocean CrossFit.
Yeah. And so and I've said this, I was so excited when they started doing the affiliate leaderboard, because I've always said that. And I actually used to try and make some stuff with looking at the leaderboard from locals in Rhode Island and piecing numbers to kind of see how gyms would rank, not just their top athletes, because I used to say when Rich Froning is not necessarily indicative of CrossFit Mayhem. After Rich Froning and his team, whoever it might be, let me see what the next 20 members are. Or Kelsey Keel and Tola Marquinhos weren't necessarily, indicative of Invictus Boston. Let me see the next 20 members at that gym and how they rank up. And the list goes on and on. And I always said, we don't have a Tia Toomey, we don't have a Matt Frazier, we don't have a Noah Olson. But what we do have is 50 amazing athletes. We have 200 really good athletes. And sometimes the numbers are almost unbelievable. There's over 20 women at Ocean State that can clean and jerk 200 plus pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I said,
that reminds me of Hiller when he owned a gym. He prided himself on saying, hey, I have the fittest gym in the country. We're fitter than
He didn't
Mayhem.
know about Ray's gym.
He didn't. He obviously didn't.
that was
But it didn't matter whether it's true or not. It's just the fact that he believed that.
Well, the affiliate leaderboard, I think that's the most important leaderboard when you're actually looking at what a gym can do. Don't worry about, especially now where you don't, it's not that super teams are totally back, because you have to at least be present for the open and for the quarterfinal in person. But the fact that you don't even have to go to the gym that you're going to compete for habitually, teams are not representative of a gym's ability to cultivate athleticism, because you can literally recruit, and that's what you're going to do. That's what you have to do to stay competitive. We're recruiting. That's what you have to do. Most of our athletes are organic, but if somebody lives an hour away and they're the only athlete from the gym and they want to come to Ocean State, come on by. But to know, how a gym actually produces athletes, look at the affiliate leaderboard with the top 20. That's where you're going to see it. And it was cool because we didn't have a Matt Frazier or a Tasia Persevage, but we beat Mayhem. We had, comparatively speaking, fitter membership than Mayhem.
Hey, they had some rando at Mayhem that Rich didn't even know. Last year, some fucking random dude at Mayhem won the first 2 workouts in the open or some shit. Do you remember that? He was beating everyone at Mayhem, and we're like, Rich, who is that? Rich is like, I don't know. That was fucking crazy.
Ray, can you talk, because some people I think are asking questions that you could help answer with this. Will you talk about how you program strength training at your gym, and not just like over the course of years even?
Yeah. So I don't want to give away all this. So I think
a membership, get an internship with Ray.
No, I mean, Ray, the example that you gave the other.
I got you. So you have to actually give strength its attention, and a lot of CrossFit methodology doesn't do that. So I'm a CrossFit level 3. Oh, that's a funny fucking story we can go down.
I'll circle back. I got a couple questions I got to get to you. I'll ask you about your level 3.
But that there's a lot of CrossFit teachings that I don't necessarily agree with, and the whole warm up for 45 minutes to do like a 7-minute workout. Like at the end of the day, I think more can be done in an hour. So we definitely do the strength and Metcon format that I think a lot of gyms do that. We'll build to a lift and then we'll do a Metcon. And I think a lot of CrossFitters are used to the feeling of cardio. So they're wanting the fast pace and they don't take enough rest and they don't give strength enough time. So if you're looking to build, if you're doing a snatch volume of say you want to do 3 sets of 3 reps, that's not an approach that's going to happen in 10 minutes. That's like a 20-minute situation where you're doing like 5, 5, 4, 4, 3, 3, 3, like of all building sets until you finally get to the weight you're going to use, which might be like, something like that, like 85%. And those sets need to be like very spaced out, like 2-3 minute breaks in between so you can do your best at them, because you need to create a situation where you can raise the ceiling for potential weight. If you're always tired, you're always doing a superset wall ball, you're not going to live to your potential. So you might try really hard and you're doing, hey, we're going to do a clean ladder where we're going to do 5, 5, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1, and you're going to end with a 1 rep max on cleans, and you're going to do it as fast as you can with 5 burpees in between each one. There's no way you're going to actually clean your heaviest weight. You want to clean your heaviest weight, you've got to pump the brakes, take big rests between sets. And also the warm-ups. A lot of gyms do elaborate warm-ups, but then don't teach the movement so much. So like I've been to gyms, I've dropped in at gyms where we might snatch, but we're going to do this really big, crazy warm-up, not really about the snatch. Then the coach will say, okay, you got 7 minutes, build to a heavy snatch. And it's like, that's not how people are going to get strong. First of all, like they're not going to learn the lift. Like if it's snatch day, the warm up you do should be, all right, everybody grab a barbell or a PVC pipe if we're not familiar with this lift yet, and go through the overhead squat, go through the jumping under the bar, go through some different progressions with the snatch. Like warm up the snatch and then give them 20 minutes in a structured approach to be able.
Seems like common sense. This is seems like common sense.
It's not the way a lot of gyms do it.
But so Ray, that's the micro. But I saw this on your Instagram the other day that you spent basically 2 years chasing 20 pounds on your clean and jerk. I think tried to go from 385 to 405.
Yep.
And but in the macro sense, how you went about getting there was not a linear build. It was more of this like peaks and valleys.
And that's something I say too. Like the better somebody gets, the stronger somebody gets, the more they can destruct their body, and the more they need to be aware of that and period out their recovery. So say you're somebody who's brand new to muscle ups and you can do them like a little bit. Well, you could probably do muscle ups like 4 or 5 days a week, because if you're doing, in a 10-minute period, I kind of say like when you're practicing skills, like you should really get them in about 10 minutes. That's the sweet spot. If you're practicing handstand push-ups, double unders, toe to bar, whatever, as an accessory workout, 10 minutes is like your sweet spot, because after that, the movement pattern is going to break down, productivity is going to slow. So when it comes to, strength or advanced gymnastics, if you're not very strong or you don't have very big capacity with gymnastics, you can do that stuff pretty frequently. If you can clean and jerk as a guy, if you can clean and jerk like 150 pounds, not to insult anybody that has that lift, that's perfectly fine, but that's not destroying your body too much. You can probably lift weights pretty consistently for a long period of time. If you get into the higher things, north of 300, 350 pounds on the clean and jerk, ladies north of like 250 pounds on the clean, when you do one of those sessions, what that's doing to your body, your central nervous system, your tendons, your ligaments, what that's doing to you, it takes a while to recover. So when you do like a strength cycle, if say you're preparing for a meet, an Olympic lifting meet or a powerlifting meet or semifinals of the games, you're ramping up your training, you're ramping up your volume And when you kind of like peak, when you're kind of done, you hit your goals, whatever, you need to give yourself a little bit of time to recover. And you got to be understanding of the fact that in that time, you're going to lose a little bit. But if you went up to here, you're only going to lose to here. So then the next time you push, you're going to go to here and you're going to recover to here. So it's not linear. It's more like that kind of stock market of growth over time.
Yeah.
And people got to be aware of that and be comfortable with that.
I think that one of the scary things for people is sometimes they think they're building this strength and then they'll get to week 3, 4, 5, 6 of whatever the cycle is supposed to be, and they can't hit the number that they're expecting to hit. And then they're like scared that like, wait a minute, is everything I'm doing wrong? And they might abandon it. But it's perfectly fine to have that little lull like you talk about of that recovery and that reset before you make the next jump.
Yeah. So there's a lot of variables to that. That's going to have to do with recovery. That's going to have to do with diet. But that's also going to have to do with genetics. And a lot of people get really frustrated when they're looking left and right instead of having the blinders on. I'd say if you take 10 people off the street and you give them the exact same squat program and the exact same diet and they live the exact same sleeping pattern and lifestyle habits, you're still going to see 10 slightly different results. Not everybody's built the same. So you write these programs out, and some people may hit the numbers exactly. Some people may actually exceed what you kind of thought they could do on them, and some people might come up a little bit short. But that's part of it. And I think that's really important too when you're doing strength programming, you're doing strength cycling, to come up with realistic goals and make sure you don't come out too hot. So like the one that I ran to do that 405 clean, it was a 16-week program, and like it was 4 weeks.
You did it? You did it?
Yes.
Wow.
So it was a 4-week program that cycled 4 times. And I told people like, hey, the first 4 weeks, like you should leave every session and say, I could have done 10 pounds more. I could have done 15 pounds more. Because if you start your baseline testing at max effort, there's no way you're going to build on that on 3 more cycles. And I think a lot of people do that. Yeah, I mean, even at my gym, even with all the explanation and coaching and stuff that I tried to convey, some people in those first 4 weeks of baseline testing would still go too hard. And I'm like, this was supposed to be like a 5x5 that you're going to do more on the second and more on the third and more on the fourth cycle. And you just went to failure. It's unlikely you're going to make those numbers increase 4 times. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a big issue people have. They go too heavy too fast.
And this is crazy. This is absolutely nuts. When was this?
November 28th.
Oh my!
He knew the exact date because it says it right there on the screen.
Oh yes.
I didn't even know this. I just know that.
No, that was a shot.
Oh, he's making fun of me. Don't worry. He does. Brian's very good like that. He doesn't make fun of the guests. Wow.
But this is the thing. Like what I like about Ray is that he's doing it with them. Like there are times that he'll be in one of those classes doing the same thing as them.
That was in class. There's another video of that. Like the video that's happening right here. I remember too. That was in class.
Wow. Hey, what are you thinking in the hole? Did you think you weren't going to get it?
To be honest with you, that I've caught that without reading the whole post here. I've gone for that on 4 separate occasions, and that was like the most secure I had caught it. And I don't know what I was really thinking. We just keep going.
The same thing he's always thinking. But I guarantee you what happens there, and this happens at the affiliate I train at too, is that on the way there might be people that are hitting bigger sets for you, bigger numbers than you on that 5x5. But at the end of the cycle, they're not hitting the 405 because they've overdone it in the process and they haven't paid attention to the details.
Or they broke along the way. Also said that you got to get your body acclimated to the volume you're about to put it through. So like doing a strength cycle is like, okay, you're doing like 2 hours worth of lifting. Another thing I don't think a lot of people are willing to do is take off days. So I would do like a 2-hour lifting session, and then the next day would be completely off.
What is this?
That's
Sorry
called-
to interrupt.
it's
What
called-
movement is this?
a tall snatch, or most people would call it a tall snatch. You could call it a snatch pull under. So it isolates.
It's like a sumo snatch. You're
Well,
not even
it isolates
exploding
the
at the bottom. I feel like if I tried that with like 10 pounds, my shoulder would break off,
It
let alone a
isolates-
fucking whole barbell.
it
Like,
isolates-
look how slow that is. What are you doing there?
So it isolates the third pull. There's no jump. If I were to jump, that'd be a high hang squat snatch. You'll see the initiation is with the arm pull, and then I just pick my feet up and drop straight down.
How fucking strong do you have to be to do that? My God.
So that's all technique. That's not like a strength movement. So that
This isn't the strength.
But look at what's
movement.
going
That
on here.
pull you're doing is not a strength movement. That thing is crazy.
that's only 155 pounds.
Oh,
For
my
height,
bad.
I've snatched 315. So for me to cap out at 55 pounds, 150, it's 50%. So proportionally, like, that's a very weak lift. Now, if you go to the next video in this post, by jumping under the bar, I added 125 pounds. By jumping under the bar, aka the high hang squat, that's 275 for 3. So a very minor difference, but now this is the second and third pull. So now I jump under the bar. That simple act of jumping adds 125 pounds of potential to this set.
That's 275 you're hang snatching?
For 3.
A high hang snatching, but yes.
Boy.
And look at this. Look at the other people in these videos, Sevan. These are just the
know.
members of
That
his
was
gym.
class. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
class.
he does this shit in the classes. It's a lead by example.
Why, Ray, why did you, when you open your second gym, why did you keep the CrossFit name? You already had one. Why pay 2 affiliate fees?
I suppose.
And was it a struggle for you? Were you thinking, maybe I just won't do this one as CrossFit?
No, we wanted to keep the brand. We have pride, sort of like what you said. I do have pride in taking part in a style of fitness that most people are maybe a little bit intimidated by, or can at least acknowledge that it's very challenging. It's humbling. But also those members, they take pride in that. Again, we didn't start a gym; we bought a gym. We rebranded it. We brought our methodology there. But those people were doing CrossFit. We didn't want to pull the rug out on that. And then also those members had done the Open. The Open wasn't as celebrated as it is in Cranston, the original Ocean State, but we were certainly going to bring that there. So we do the Friday night lights there. The Open is a big thing. We wanted to make that CrossFit. We wanted to keep going with CrossFit. The affiliate fees validated.
And what do you get from that? Basically, a lot of people say it's a loyalty. So you like the name, you like representing the brand.
So I definitely like the name. I definitely like the brand. I don't get anything from CrossFit HQ. So they're cute with calling it affiliate. I don't know. People say, "Oh, what is it, a franchise?" I'm like, no, it's not. A franchise is quality control. So somebody from corporate will go around to Subway and make sure that there aren't rats running around the place. Somebody from corporate will go around to Buffalo Wild Wings and make sure that the bartender isn't spitting in the drinks. So there's quality control, right? Fuck, there's no quality control in CrossFit. So I don't get anything out of them. I wish there was. I tell people, every horror story you've heard, even if that particular one was a lie, it's probably happened somewhere. It's probably true. And we got to share in that name, and that sucks. So I wish there was quality control. But they don't do any advertising for us, and I think that's a huge thing with franchising is, you'll never watch the Super Bowl and see a CrossFit commercial, right? You'll never be driving down the road and hear on the radio a CrossFit commercial. The only time you ever see CrossFit commercials is on the Jumbotron in between events at Wadapalooza or in a CrossFit event where everybody there already knows it's CrossFit. Like, who are you marketing to? So I don't get anything out of CrossFit. I definitely, again, just kind of circling back to my rock bottom. My rock bottom in my early 20s, CrossFit saved my life for sure. If it wasn't for CrossFit and I stayed doing what I was doing, I'd be dead. I don't know that I'm lucky I didn't wind up dead anyway. But
really, why so you get? I don't get it. Why? I don't get that. Go back to.
Some of those people are unsavory people, and you never know what kind of situations they may wind up in. Luckily, things never went really wrong for me. But I mean, aside from getting arrested,
look, right.
Then also, but a lot of the people that I used to hang around with back then did wind up, when Percocets dried up, went the heroin route, and a lot of them have passed away. I've lost a lot of friends with that, but CrossFit saved my life. And
by the way, just on a side note, when you say heroin, do you mean fentanyl?
Yeah, it's the same, but yeah, right. Nobody really wants to do fentanyl. They started with Percocets, and then that dried up, and they went to heroin, and now it's pain.
And then someone laced it with fentanyl, and they died.
But
hey, a lot of people who died, like more than 5. Oh shit!
But
family members? Any family members?
Thank God, no. There was like a period of time, like in my later 20s, like I was like going like a funeral a year. Yeah, but CrossFit saved my life, so I do have some loyalty to that. And I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for having gotten in trouble. And the Ocean State community, like some people could look at that and say, "Oh, what the fuck? I didn't know Ray was a fuck up back in the day." Well, lucky Ray, Ray a fuck up was what lit a fire under my ass to become the Coach Fleser people know today. So it is what it is.
Hey, there's only 2 kinds of people, man. There's people who fucked up and have straightened out, and then there's people who are still fucking up. So I don't trust anyone who hasn't fucked up and had to straighten themselves out. Nobody.
Like Dallin Pepper.
Don't get it. Yeah, like Dallin. Fuck that dude. Everything's way too good in his life.
So CrossFit saved my life. So that's one of the reasons for that brand, and fitness most certainly saved my life. So that's why we do the Move to Heal program, why we got involved with the Move to Heal program, because that is saving people's lives. Like every week people are saying like this program is what's keeping me off the ledge. But at the end,
hey, you wouldn't be doing that program probably if you hadn't have gone through what you had gone through. Same thing with Matt Schindeldecker. I don't know if you heard that show, but that dude's mom came onto a fucking school bus and killed the bus driver right in front of him. And that was 28 years of fucking trauma and he didn't fucking know why he had to go through that in his life. And now today he's helping fucking thousands of kids based on that trauma he had. So, and those kids wouldn't have that opportunity if Matt hadn't have had to go through that pain. You know what I mean? So it's like, fuck, he's an alchemist, and that's what you are too. You're an alchemist. You're transforming what your struggle into something positive.
Yeah. Well, that's what CrossFit has helped me with. That's what fitness has helped me with. That's why I pay it forward. And again, the rock bottom is what ended up lighting the fire that led to who I am now. So that's that. But as far as what I get out of CrossFit, the name, that's a marketing tool, and that's the right to show up on Google. And we generate new members from 2 things. One is word of mouth. The other is Google. And we always ask when people come in, "Hey, how do you hear about us?" And most of them say, "Oh, I Googled CrossFit," or they heard about us. And when the Googling stops happening, when the CrossFit name is no longer worth $6,000 between the 2 affiliates a year because of marketing, then we'll reevaluate. But at this point in time, Google is our biggest recruit.
If you think back, Sevan, when Greg talks about the origins of CrossFit, he would say you don't need a billboard. Every member is my walking billboard. But the world's changed now. There's a lot of people that
I think a lot of,
especially in the last couple of years, people aren't going out in social settings the way that they used to. They're not even going to the grocery store the way that they used to anymore. And CrossFit has not responded in terms of marketing to help affiliates in that regard. So Ray says, yeah, some people hear about it by word of mouth, but a lot more people in the last 3 to 5 years are finding things online.
Yeah. Right. And I think a lot of Glassman says some great stuff. At the end of the day, he started an amazing movement, but I think there's a lot of things, a lot of practices that are really just a denial of responsibility. So a big one is, you know, the answer to why is there no quality control, and like his kind of philosophy of like survival of the fittest. Oh, if you're a bad gym and you don't have good hygiene habits and you don't have good coaching and you don't have good equipment and whatever, you're not going to make it. That's his answer to that. And I'm like, okay, that's true. But in the process of that, they're gonna give a lot.
Well, the problem is you nailed it. We all share the same name. So you're kind of, what you're saying might be true, but you're also fucking us.
Exactly right. So like so here's, you know, CrossFit 1, 2, 3. They suck. They got a bad coach. He's a creep. He's sending dick pics to all the chicks. He's taking people's money and he's not showing up to class. He's just doing every horror story you've heard he's doing, and he goes out of business. Cool. In Glassman's eyes, all right, well, survival of the fittest, he's out of business. In my eyes, I'm like, 500 people walk through the door and now hate CrossFit because of that douche, and I gotta share the same.
They're wondering if Ray's gonna send dick pics. It's a valid point.
Yeah, if you get a picture of my sausage, it's my dog.
Those are the people that were looking for Ray Fleser. They forgot it was actually Fleser.
You're right. Ray, tell me about the hey, on the other hand, I just want to say this. Be careful what you ask for too, you know, because people always think the grass is going to be greener on the other side, and you think, okay, we're going to do a little quality control, and next thing you know, they got their thumb up your ass.
Well, that's,
you know what I mean?
You know
I mean,
totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. I wouldn't want somebody coming in. And maybe it's just because, you know, I believe that what I'm doing is a great job. I think deep down,
right,
we're doing a shit job. They know they're doing a shit job. But I wouldn't want that. So on the one hand, I'm like, but on the other hand,
hey, it's here. I'll give you this too. You want to just get crazy before I ask you about level 3. There's all this talk about fucking giving police more training. Listen, dumb fucks. The police don't need more training. You as a society need more training. You as a society need to fucking learn how to interact with cops. You dumb fucks. It's like bees. You don't see a bee full of bushes and jump into it trying to get honey. You stay away from that bush and you go to the store and get the honey.
Yeah.
I'm not defending any bad action. They're fucking a necessary fucking evil. Leave them the fuck alone and learn how to deal with fucking cops. Why is it always the same fucking person who's resisting arrest that ends up getting the fucking their head kicked in? I never see the fucking video where 30 cops just show up to someone's house and beat the fuck out of them.
Well,
you don't see the black kid playing the tuba on his front lawn and the cops go up and start beating him. It's always like, and maybe they tell you to get on the ground and you shouldn't get on the ground. Maybe, but hey, you know how this plays out. I know you own that bush and there's 1,000 bees in it. Don't go over and tell them to get out. Anyway, I just get frustrated that society just wants to blame. There becomes a point where people need to take some fucking personal fucking responsibility. Be careful what you ask for. We got rid of cops in Portland, and look what's happening. Murders up 422%.
Oh, that was.
You jackasses.
Yeah, the scene in Rhode Island is not so great.
Sorry, I didn't mean to drag you into my political rant, but
it's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
Let's ask him about his level 3.
Okay, you're level 3. Easy, Sevan. Sorry. I'm so tired. I want to see a video every day of cops doing good shit, not bad shit. And there's millions of them on YouTube. I'm going to start a series on my show. Cops that do good stuff. Fucking so cops need more training. You jackasses need more training. Stop fucking having kids if you're not going to raise them. Fucking idiots. Oh, my wife's not going to like that. She just told me last night to stop the name calling. Okay, level 3. So you took your level 3.
Well, so he did a level 1, and then
what year?
2012, I think.
Yeah, you talked about that. You scraped your minimal coin together to do it.
Yes, yep. And then it's funny when I started at Ocean State, a lot of members would say, "Oh, well, did you graduate from URI?" And I said, "No, I'm actually like you got senior dropout. I got 1 semester left." And they always said, "Oh, we'll go back." And at the time, I said, "Well, Aaron, the owner of the gym, he's not going to pay me more if I go back and get my degree. So if you pay for it, I'll go. But otherwise, I'm not going to go back." And I always planned on finishing my degree. But kind of 1 semester at a time, I just was real busy working and just knew that a degree in kinesiology would never actually give me anything because all that was left was the practical hours, and I was already in the field. So like, well, I'm going to pay URI to do a semester of like intern. Like, fuck that. I'm in the field. And that's kind of like, hey, word to anybody who may watch this and is thinking about being a trainer for a living, don't go to school for kinesiology. You don't need that degree. If you want to be a physical therapist, you do. But I did learn a lot, but I also wasted a lot of money. You know, like I want to be a trainer, and here I am paying the University of Rhode Island for Western Civ, music, theater, Spanish. And I got horrible grades in those classes because I didn't give a fuck because I wasn't there to do it. So whatever, college is another rant. So CrossFit level 1. And then there was a period of time where I wanted to step my game up a little bit. My level 1 was starting to kind of like get close to expiring. I think I was like 3 years in. So I did the level 2. And then several years later, I was thinking that I might want to get the level 3, but then I was kind of pushed because my level 1 was going to expire. And I thought kind of having level 2 would push it forward. But apparently, like, if you...
So you're saying after 3 years, you got the level 2, but your level 1 was still going to expire after 5.
Yeah, that. Yeah. So yeah, that. So I got my level.
Some
1,
of this has changed over the years.
Years later, I got my level 2, and that doesn't extend the life of the level 1. Your shelf life of your level 1 is still there. Fuck that. Anyway.
Yes.
So then I'm like, okay, well, what do I have to do to keep my creds? And they're like, well, if you do the level 3, it extends the life of your level 1. I'm like, well, that makes sense. I don't know why the level 2 doesn't do that, but whatever. So I studied my fucking ass off for the level 3, which was a really shitty time to do it because it was 2018, and I had a team that I was on for regionals and 4 individuals that made it to regionals and a master that made it to the games in the club that I was coaching, Ocean State's Finest. So running those sessions, managing the team, and running the sessions with all the individuals. And then my normal coaching job and my normal
training,
personal training and everything. And so I'm working, I'm already working 50 plus hours a week. And then you throw in, and that's the norm for me. 50 to 60 is the norm for me. And then you throw in the competitors program during the season, and that's on top. I don't stop work to do that. That just makes my Saturday go from 3 hours to 6 hours, and then maybe 7 hours. And then we were also moving buildings. That was the winter. I was doing a build out at the building we are now in, and I was going to have to be moving. So I've got my normal 50, 60 hour work week. I've got the addition of training the competitors, and I'm also, putting on, some grimy clothes and going and doing construction at our soon to be building. And now I'm getting, the pressure from CrossFit saying you need to do your level 3 or your level 1's going to expire, and explaining to them, hey, we're in season. I'm the coach. Here's the teams. Here's the individuals. Here's the place. I'm literally swinging a hammer and doing. Can you give me a couple months? And they were like, no, we can't do that. This is the date. And I'm like, fuck you. But okay. So,
Right. Hey, you should be in the movies. That was some Al Pacino shit. Say hello to my little gun. Say hello to my little friend. Yeah, it's good. What are you? What's your ethnicity?
I'm a mutt, but a good amount of Italian is in there.
Yeah. Okay.
But I ended up studying my ass off, and I passed it. And that was a really proud moment for me. There's a picture of me with my test score on my Instagram from back then. That was a really proud moment. Not just passing the L3, but the circumstances that I had to prepare for it. I was studying, midnight to 4 a.m. before opening the gym. Yeah, that was fucking brutal. And I passed that. And I thought that lasted a really long time. I didn't know how long that lasted. But I'm kind of the application to even apply for the CrossFit level 3, you have to coach so many classes, whatever. I don't know what it was at the time, but I've coached over 10,000 classes, and I hit that. I think more like 12,000. I hit 10,000 a couple of years ago. But I had also taken CrossFit Strongman and CrossFit Kids. So I
heard CrossFit Kids is fucking amazing. Did you like it? Did you take CrossFit Old People too? The thing Matt Swift made up? I heard that's amazing.
I have not. CrossFit Kids.
I think that might be gone, by the way, but I heard that's as good as the L1.
CrossFit Kids is awesome. It's just, that's kind of a separate conversation. It's hard to run. It's hard to do a program. to allocate a room and a coach because there's a demand. We've got a bunch of kids within the community, but they don't all share the same schedule. So it's like Tim's parents can get him there on Tuesday. Billy's parents can get him there on Thursday. Cindy's parents can get her there in the morning. So it's like to say like, hey, we're going to do CrossFit Kids at 5:30 p.m. Like we've tried it and maybe we'll try it again.
And it's hard finding a transgender level 1 coach to teach your kids class.
Well, by their rule, it would have to be me because I'm the one who got the cert, and most importantly, I'm the one whose background.
Well, you make sure only transgender are teaching your kids stuff. Okay, thank you.
But then so last year, 2 years ago, I forget exactly. Started getting heat from CrossFit again, and it was during COVID that like, oh, your credentials are going to expire. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm a level 3, like I passed it. Like, I'm actively working in the field. I get like if I like took the test, passed, and then I stopped working, but I'm working in the field. I've literally coached to the games since taking the other. Okay, what do I need to do to keep it? And they told me the continuing education courses I had to take, and they were seminars, and I had to take several of them, and I forget exactly what they were, like $1,000 a piece, and I had to take several of them, and because of COVID, they weren't even in person. They were online. And I'm like, hold on a minute.
Yeah, that sucks.
I'm like, hold on. I snatched 315. I clean and jerk 385. I've literally coached athletes to the games. And
your bathrooms are clean. You have hot clients that you don't fuck. I mean, you check all the boxes.
But now you want me to pay $1,000 to take the Olympic weightlifting seminar. I'm a USA weightlifting coach. Now you want me to take the USA weightlifting seminar, the CrossFit weightlifting seminar, give you another $1,000. But wait, it's online. It's not even in person. Once again, fuck that.
So what did you do? Hey, can you take a level 4 and never have to deal with any of that shit again?
Well, maybe, but I was in a pissing match with him, and I dug my feet in, and I didn't bend. I lost my credential down to an L1 or I guess L2 because an L2 is valid if you've got an L, and they're like,
so you have your L3, but you're not allowed to tell anyone you have your L3 because you didn't do the follow-up. You didn't maintain it.
Yes, he says, but fuck all that. I'm an L3. So no, I'm sorry. I didn't give CrossFit an extra couple $1,000 to do online seminars for shit.
So when will your L2 now expire and then your L1 and then you'll lose your gym?
So when my L3 was going to expire and I was getting in a pissing match with them, I'm like, guys, like I'll like pay you if it's a matter of you just want money. Like I'll give you $1,000 to like maintain my certification. But like what, I don't want to do online seminars for content I already know. By the way, everything that's in those seminars is in the level 3 anyways. You have to read all the handbooks anyways. Like to pay money to do the Olympic weightlifting seminar through CrossFit, you have to learn that content for the L3 anyways. So I said, well, where can we go from here? They said you can do your L1, and I go, fuck you, fine. So I paid and I did the L1 again. And
online?
So even so stupid. So I thought it was just going to be the test. So did the test, and then I get an email from CrossFit saying, all right, you did like half of it, but you have to sit in on the webinar. And I'm like, wait, what? And I'm like, well, yeah, the CrossFit level 1 is a live webinar. I'm like, guys,
I would die if I had to sit through one of those.
So I sat through the L1 again. On general principle, I wasn't going to give CrossFit, like, I'm not doing a bunch more than 10 minutes to maintain the L3.
Hey, this reminds me of people wearing masks on airplanes, and everyone's like, they made us do it. It's like, no, if everyone just stopped flying, they wouldn't have made you do it. They would have had to fucking let up because they need people in those seats. I feel like at some point there needs to be like, dude, you own 2 fucking affiliates. You've taken the level 1, level 2, level 3, kids. You mentioned one more. I don't know if it was football or weightlifting. It's like, when does it stop?
So I think, in this regard,
I mean, I believe in some sort of continued education, but also like, don't make it feel like a money grab.
No, but in this regard, I believe when I took the level 1 that they said we recommend 750 hours of coaching before you take your level 2. And I took that somewhat seriously. I had a Google spreadsheet and I documented because I was like shadowing classes, then I was coaching classes, but being observed. And then eventually I started coaching classes, and I documented all the way until I made it to 1,000 hours. And I thought in my mind, okay, I've exceeded their recommendation. I've actually been in the field doing the thing. And now I feel like at any time going forward from now, I should be ready to take the level 2. But you don't have to do that. There's nothing holding you accountable to those 750 hours. It's just a recommendation. Yeah. I think at the level 3, there is some kind of stipulation where you have to be able to document that you've actually coached a certain amount of time. And what I don't understand is why if you want to maintain your level 3, that you just have to keep coaching. And you can just every year say, here's my coaching log for the year. Good. You're good for one more year.
Yeah. Well, they didn't see it that way. I do see it that way. So I dug my feet in and I said, fine, what's the cheapest way I can maintain credential to have my affiliate? And they said, retake the L1. And I said, all right, that's what I'll do.
Hey, do you have any burnout? I'm shifting subjects here. I always think like when I first found CrossFit, I wanted to open a gym so fucking bad. And like, I used to just take all my weights and stuff down to the field in the back of my truck. And I probably met like 10 people who would work out with me every day there that I just met at this public track in Berkeley.
Tall Carl was one of them.
Yes. Yep. And after about, I don't know, after about 6 months of that shit, I was like, okay, I don't want to open a gym. And I always wonder, like, for you, like, it's like 25 to 30 seems like a good time to open a gym. And then I would think that maybe you'd get burnt out or like want to be more ambitious. And for you, you've scratched that ambition, right? You've opened a second gym. You have that program that's 2 days a week that's helping people. You've branched out and you have Olympic weightlifting. You have all these, different disciplines within. But is there any advice you have for anyone who's 25 years old and wants to jump in all in with the gym, rent the space, sign the 5-year lease, fucking get all the things, the certificates, buy the equipment? Like, how do you stop from not getting burnt out and being like, okay, I want to do something else? I mean, even the guy you bought the gym from, right? Both people, they were ready to move on. But you don't seem like you're ready to move on. You seem like at 35, you just keep reinventing what the gym is.
Well, I think make sure it's not a flavor of the week. So the guy who started Ocean State, he is a really, really, really passionate guy about whatever he's doing at the time. And he's a really smart guy, and he's very capable, I think is a good way to put it. Like, all right, he wants to start a gym and he is all in and he made it happen. He's like, when he says he's going to do something, like when I say capable, like he can make it happen. He doesn't talk about it for a long time. He gets shit done. But that wasn't his lifelong dream. He had done a couple of things before that. And then in the time, that I had worked for him, and he had switched over to online marketing, went really, really deep in with that, and then switched over to real estate and he sold me my first house and went really, really, really deep in with that. And
your first house, how many houses do you have?
I moved out of that one. First house, and then where I live now. But it wasn't, and he didn't fail in that. In a sense, he sold it, but that wasn't his lifelong dream. That was his business that he was passionate about at the time because it was what he was doing. So for people who are going to get into this and don't want to fail, they need to either be incredibly capable, like that guy was. You need to be able to build something really good in a short period of time and sell it like he did. Or you need to be like me, and you need to be incredibly passionate and know that this is going to be your life. This is going to be your life for a really long time. It's going to mean late nights. It's going to mean early mornings. It's going to mean putting on a face when you're fucking dead and depressed and tired because people want to see Coach Ray. So you're going to put aside feelings. You're going to swallow so many frustrations. It is an emotional.
Do you ever do that in your car? You pull up to the gym and you're like, look in the mirror and you're like, "Hi, Coach Ray," and like fuck with yourself, like get yourself pumped up.
No.
All right, you're not crazy.
No, it's more like just the pressure of like. So say I go to a wedding on a Saturday night and I go to coach on Sunday, like, and I'm not 100% me.
And don't forget, when Ray goes to a wedding, he goes hard.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I believe it. I believe it.
But you get, hey, is everything all right, Ray? You weren't yourself today. It's like, slid into a fucking backflip when I walked in the door. You know what I mean? Like there's that pressure.
Right.
But you need to be on, and you need to be very accommodating with your schedule, which pretty much means you live for it. I don't know. I think a lot of people think it's easier than it is. I think a lot of people think it's some part-time. Oh, I like fitness. I'll open up a gym and I'll hire a coach and I'll coach a little bit. And I'll bring my dog and I'll put my baby in the stroller over there. It'll be cute and we'll love it. Not going to do well. Not going to do well. It's too competitive. The days of the CrossFit 401 went out of business. The days of the CrossFits in a box in a grimy little U-Haul with some old equipment and people with their shirts off, embracing the fact that they're doing burpees and getting covered and shit. Those days are done. Those days are done. That's not what it is. That's not happening. Why would somebody pay you to go to your gym when the gym around the corner has got nice equipment, got professional coaches, has bathrooms and showers? Like those days are done. So you're not gonna. It's not gonna be your side project. Like, any advice to people getting into it, don't get into it if it's gonna be your side project. It's not gonna work.
It's great to meet you, Ray.
Great to meet you as well.
105 minutes of well spent time. I really I enjoy you. You're a good dude. I wish you lived closer. I'd hang out with you, or if I'd try to hang out with you.
Well, if you're ever in Rhode Island.
Yeah, I don't even believe Rhode Island exists. I think it's
a split. Half of us belong to Connecticut, half of us belong to Massachusetts.
All right.
The bay you live on.
Brian, thank you for introducing me to Ray.
Well, I think he's a good dude. A lot of fun stories, and one of the hardest working guys I know.
Ray, do other affiliates? Are you comfortable with other affiliates reaching out to you and asking for advice?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, my communication timing leaves a little something to be desired. So
it's just 600 members is, I think, a place between two gyms that a lot of people would like to get, and if you could, I'm sure that people will be like, hey, any thoughts? Yeah.
Again, just be ready to give it everything you have. I never stop trying. My partners, both of them, Jen and Dave, and I in Smithfield, Dave and I in Cranston, like, we never stop investing in the gym, in our equipment, in our facility. I know that sounds cheesy and it sounds easy and it's like, well, duh, but we never stop trying. And that's not true of everybody. You can tell when the passion's left and people just stop giving a fuck. You can see that. So again, like that's my advice. Just keep trying. But yeah, people can reach out to me.
Awesome, brother. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. Have an amazing day.
You too. Take care, Ryan. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Oh shit, Sue's this year?
Now listen, you fucking jackasses. Where are we with this cop thing? I'm not saying that cops don't need more training. It's all fucking relative. It comes down to this. Listen up. Cops need more training, David. Listen, you could get 90% of what you want if you train society. You're only going to get 10% of what you want from cops. It's just you have to contextualize it and make it relative. The story's always lopsided. Just put masks on people, give them injections, give them pills, everything will be better. No consideration for what the consequences are. Just shut down all the schools, everything will be fine. That's the way you sound when you keep talking about cops needing more training out of this ratio of really, if you just train society more and told society more how they need to behave around cops, which you never hear. You hear zero. This show is the only place you've ever fucking heard it. You're fucking 28-year-old fucking CrossFitter. You've never fucking heard it until I just said it on this show. It's a society that needs the training. They need the training. The cops sure, train cops all you want. But I'm just saying, if you want the most bang for your buck, unfuck the citizens. Do you know the city of Seattle is now fucking suing Kia and Hyundai because their cars are too stealable? They're blaming the car manufacturer because your car is too stealable. You remember it's not okay to blame women for getting raped, right? You jugheads.
That was a jump.
Well, it's the exact same
that's
thing.
A leap.
Hey, it's the exact same thing. You would never blame a woman for getting raped because she was wearing the fucking wrong clothes in the park at night.
No.
And why are you blaming the car manufacturer for their cars getting stolen?
But cops do need
You
more fucking training.
jackasses. Fine, but it's irrelevant in the thing. It's irrelevant in the bigger scope of what the problem is in society. If you,
I don't disagree
every
with
single
that.
person who's taken a fucking L from the cops has fucking resisted arrest. Stop fucking resisting arrest. Behave yourself. Stop stealing. Stop speeding. Stop. Understand the social contract that we have with them. They work for us. You know we hired them, right? You know we need them. You know if you just fuck them and throw them out, it's like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. 0 to 100 Sevi.
Do you know the origin of that? Throw the baby out with the bathwater.
No, I like it. Please tell me it's
Dates
totally
back to
inappropriate.
the Middle Ages time when people often bathed maybe once every 6 months.
Yes.
They had a hierarchy to bathing. It started with the man. Sometimes then the oldest son, the wife was probably up towards the beginning, and the baby was last when the water was black because they all used the same tub because they only had access to it once every few months.
Yeah.
And when you went to dump it out, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Wow. So it was real. I am no thing, which is different than nothing. Logan Mars, it's been a while, buddy. I remember when we used to be friends.
I know. I feel like I haven't seen him in the chat in a while.
Sevan's mustache was his filter, and now that it's gone, it's all coming out. Oh, shut it. I don't want to fucking hear a thing. Just tell me how great I am. That's it. That's all I want in the comments. Well, yeah, let's focus on Brian. So, Brian, I was supposed to ask you, can I ask you about it now while we're online, or do you want me to ask you about it later?
You can ask me, I guess.
So trolling the leaderboard. Tell me about that. That was something we used to do that back in the day. That was like
how we met.
Trolling the leaderboard. I like that.
You were doing the CrossFit podcast. It was 2018, and all of it, and I was following along pretty closely. And much like the podcast now, you know, your podcast was called the CrossFit Podcast, but you spoke to a variety of different people. And I felt like I was learning a lot through it. And then all of a sudden, trolling the leaderboard, 18.1 pops up as an episode. And I thought to myself,
who was on that episode with me?
Matt Bischel. And I don't know who
we didn't know shit about the games. We just pretended like we knew. And fucking started.
You had free reign. You just did whatever you wanted. And I was like, this is it. I was sitting at the place I was living in Naples, Florida at the time. And I remember thinking to myself, yes, finally, a person who actually has a platform, has free reign and unlimited time and resources, the ability to look at more of the stories on the leaderboard than just the who won the workout this week story. But everyone in the comments might be super surprised at this moment that you barely talked about the open leaderboard at all. You got way off topic, talked about anything and everything else. And I was sitting there making notes. I was like, God damn it. There were so many good things he could have talked about here. And I wrote down like a page of notes. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to take a chance. So I DM'd you with 3 ideas. And I said, hey, trolling the leaderboard, great idea, but you really got off topic there. And look at some of the meat you left on the bone. And you responded, damn, impressive. Send me more. I'll never forget it. Damn, impressive. Send me more. So next
God,
week,
I'm so humble. God, I'm so humble.
Next week, the leaderboard finalizes it was on the evenings then, Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And I stayed up to like 2 a.m. scouring, looking for notes, whatever. And I typed up all this stuff and sent it to you. Trolling the leaderboard 18.2. You printed off my notes. I couldn't believe it. You printed off my notes. You opened the podcast. You go, some guy on Instagram, Brian Friend, told me that we have a good idea, but we did a shitty show. And he gave me notes that can make our show better. So we're just going to try it. The whole show, you just read off my notes. And then that was like
yeah, that's awesome.
3 weeks later, I was there and
that's when I left you. I invited you out there, but I left town. That's what
I was gonna say. I was like, didn't you go all the way there? And he wasn't there.
I go all the way there. I'm like, okay, it's gonna be me and Matt and Sevan. It's gonna be fun and I'm prepared. And Tommy Marquez walks out. He goes, Brian. I'm like, yeah. He goes, Sevan had something to do for Greg. He's not gonna be here. And I'm just like, 2 things. I'm like, one, like that's Tommy Marquez, who at that time was the only guy doing that, and the guy that I looked up to as the what I would love to be in the sport. And 2, the guy who invited me out here isn't even fucking here. And then he goes,
probably sitting first class having a fucking what's the red drink called that's made of tomato juice?
Well,
Bloody Mary. It's probably on my third Bloody Mary on first class flight somewhere.
He didn't remember till 2 days later when he got home.
And then he goes, yeah, but it's all good. We're going to do the podcast. Bishel's going to host it. It's me, you and me. And I'm thinking, oh no, like now I'm going to go on this live fucking podcast with Tommy Marquez. Like I'm fucked. I thought I was fucked. I was like, there's no way. He knows everything. It's his job to know everything. But we had a good show. Anyway, my idea is that we should bring it back. I think we should do Trolling the Leaderboard this year.
So basically every
good leaderboard.
5 years later.
So every
Monday night after the leaderboard finalizes.
Yeah.
We just hop on. I have a couple ideas of people we can bring on with us, and we'll just
look
for the untold stories on the leaderboard.
Yeah, I love it.
And if we start setting it up ahead of time, people can even feed us some stuff to help guide the conversation, because there's so many people who do it and so many stories that we wouldn't even know to look for otherwise.
Yeah, when is the first?
I've already written out an entire list of dates and times that I'm going to send to you guys later today.
Oh God, you're such a beast. You're a beast, dude. You're a beast. Hold on one second. That's my breakfast date. Finishing podcast.
I was just gonna go on like a random, like how you did right when it stopped in a breath. I'm gonna look, people.
Okay.
If you want to change anything around you, you need to start by changing yourself. That means excellence and anything you bleed and breathe. It needs to happen. And if you're not taking your training seriously as a law enforcement officer, there's no way society will ever step up and treat you the way that you need to be treated. So remember, law enforcement officers, it starts with your culture and setting your house in perfect order. Train. Don't be fat. Be prepared.
Don't be fat.
If you're a cop. Did you guys see the New York Minute?
I did.
Those are the guys, the FDNY guys that I've had a relationship with over the last couple of years, and they sent me that the other day. I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, they are doing what Sousa just talked about. They are preparing themselves every day for whatever happens when they walk out that door on a call.
Good dudes.
Listen, John Mulligan, I'm not sure if I understand this, but I retired with 23 years with the sheriff's office. Training will help, especially jiu-jitsu. Hit the job makes good people go insane. Yeah, that is the thing that other people don't realize also. I don't know if he's saying this, but I'll tell you this. Being a cop will make you insane. You are dealing with a lot of fucking bad people over and over and over and over. I'm not saying that there's shouldn't be any accountability from the police, that there shouldn't be more training, that there's not bad cops. I'm saying it's so disproportionately talked about. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying is like, hey, dude, we would get way more bang for our buck if we just stopped looking at cops and society did its part.
Have either of you ever
way
had
more bang for its buck?
Yeah.
Have either of you ever had someone with a military background or law enforcement background? Have you ever watched one of them teach a Turkish get-up?
Can't say that I have. No.
Maybe. I'm sure I have. Somewhere I've seen someone. Oh, yes. Of course I have. Yes. I took my seminar from Jeff Martone. I took the fucking kettlebell seminar from Jeff Martone.
Oh.
The first time that happened, it totally like changed the concept, not just of that movement for me, but of like moving in general when I'm working out into something that was practical and applicable to a real world scenario. And he was basically describing that same movement of getting off the ground in a way that you could do it with a gun, or if someone else has a gun, or in a hand-to-hand situation. And then it like, I don't know, it just changed my thinking about movement in general.
What is the first date on this? I'm just for my own. Do you have it? What would be the first? When does the open start? The actual like.
Oh, the first open workout will be announced on the 16th of February.
So we would do our first show on the 23rd, or we would start in. Oh, we could do the first one on the 16th.
No, I got it for you. We don't need to talk about that here.
Okay, I'm excited. I'm pumped. We should block those dates off, Sousa, because we're filling up fast. I cannot fucking believe the people we have coming on this show. Do you know who we have on tomorrow, Brian?
Jake Lockhart.
Yeah. Have you ever seen him? I don't think he's ever been interviewed.
I mean, if you follow the Mayhem programming, and if you receive it, I think that you will probably get a visual interaction with him quite often. Outside of that, you probably have maybe see some of the stuff on the blog, on the vlogs that they do. Yeah. But in terms of finding out who he is, I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped for that. Do you have no? I don't have Dave on today. I don't know when Dave's coming on, but he's coming on soon because I'm putting in a lot of effort. You know what? The last thing I have to do is I have to take this desk right here and move it over here. And I'm really nervous to do that. One, because it's like probably $30,000 worth of fucking gear I have to move. And because what if it ends up not looking good and I have to move it all back?
Mm.
I have like part of my OCD thing is I can't ever backtrack. Like if I miss a freeway exit, I can't just turn around and come back. I can't explain it right now, but I hate backtracking.
It's like we need to dig into that.
I hate backtrack. I have an issue with backtracking.
Hey, why don't you think of it like a slingshot? You know, sometimes you got to go backwards to really propel yourself even further forwards.
Quit being a baby, so on. I know. I have so many excuses. I know.
Idiosyncrasies.
Yes. The Sigmund's daughter interview was stellar. Well, I'm glad. Yeah, Brian upped his game. Brian was very happy. Even my mom said, "Wow, Brian was really happy." He was very happy.
I text Snorri after that one, and I just said, every time we get a chance to talk to her, I'm more and more impressed. And I know she doesn't do a lot of those. So if you are, I think you get to see a lot of who she is and how she's grown as a person outside of CrossFit in the conversation we had.
I like her. I'm flattered that we get to have her on. Peter Shaw, please have Dave on as often as possible. I'm going to. Peter, thank you for saying that. I'm totally going to.
Pete Shaw, you know who that is, right?
Yeah,
he's a beast too.
Yeah, he is.
Canadian guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of Canada's only cool people. Sarah makes people happy. All right. Brian, thanks for coming on. Tomorrow morning, Jake Lockhart. Are you coming on for that? So people can make fun of you for not talking? Okay.
No, I wanted to listen to Ray. I know Ray really well. I thought it would be fun to see you guys interact, and I figured that on the back half I'd be able to help out a little bit more.
Ignore those people. Those people are stupid. I like looking at you. You're fun to look at.
I wore a fun, colorful shirt today just because I knew I wasn't going to say much.
Sevan, Sevan has a calming effect. Sevan has a calming effect on the entire Sevan podcast. Sarah, she does not have a calming effect. Shut your pie hole. Oh, it's over. Goodness. Show's over. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Sousa, thank you for not cutting your hair. Brian, thanks for coming on. It's always exciting. My sister says, Brian, you're a class act. And everyone.